So you've probably heard of the famous Carol of the Bells song. We hear it every year for Christmas. It's one of my favorite songs to do, and it's actually a super easy song to play. So we're going to start with a simple version of this song. First up, I'm going to start with my middle finger on the G right here. And you're playing these three notes with these three fingers. On the left side of the piano, the chords are going to be E minor, D major, C major, and B major. You don't have to play the chords right now. We're just going to play the root note. E, D, C, and B. Together. You're going to play through that phrase about 4 times. Then you're going to move on to the next part. Same pattern, same chord progressions. All you're going to do is take that G and move it up to the B. So instead of this, you're playing this. B, A, B, G. Same chord progression on your left hand. And you play that phrase 1 time. Now our chord progression is going to change, and we're going to go to the fun part. Let's start with our right hand. I'm going to start with this high E with my pinky. And then my index finger is going to land on that B. When I do that, I'm going to swap my index for the middle finger. Swap. And then you end on that E octave lower with your thumb. Start on this high E. That's your right hand. What am I doing with my left hand? Your chords are E minor, G major, A minor, back to E minor. You don't have to play the chords right now, just play the root note. E, G, A, E. E and E together. G and B. A and A. E and E. Now for the next fun part. So we're going to start on the B with our thumb, and this is what we're going to play. Our thumb is starting on that B. We play those first 3 notes and we cross over. We move our thumb from the B to the E. Just like that. And then our index moves from the C sharp over to the F sharp. And then your middle finger on that G. And your top 3 fingers play those last 3 notes. Your chord progression is just going to be B major. And so all you have to play is the B. Once you've got that down, you've pretty much got the song done. And it just goes back in a loop. You go back to the beginning. And so on. That was the simple, easy version of Carol of the Bells. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into some more complicated stuff and show you some different ways you can get creative with this and make it your own. So on your right hand, your melody, first thing you can do right off the bat is you can add octaves to it. So I'm playing the same thing, just an octave lower. Pinky and thumb playing the same thing. Once it goes to the higher part, you can do the same thing. Galley they sing, you're going to go up and do the same thing. Simply adding octaves to the melody makes it sound so much more powerful. And then our last part. So that's the first thing you can do with the melody on your right hand. On the left hand, if you don't just want to play the root notes, the first thing you can do, obviously octaves, but before we do that, let's try adding the actual chord shapes. So that E root note is going to become an E minor chord. The D, C, B major, and then if you can, instead of just playing the chord outright, walk up the notes. So now on the left hand, we're going to walk up with the octaves instead of the chord shapes. So instead of, I'm going to do this. And so what's happening is this is our chord shape. I'm taking that G, getting rid of it, and then I'm landing back on the E. So I'm keeping our fifth note of our chord shape, getting rid of the middle note, and then landing on our root note on the next octave. I'm going to do the same thing with each chord. This was our D chord, getting rid of that middle note, and then landing on the D. I'm going to bring this down here. Next part. And you can keep that pattern going on the left hand while your right hand does all the octave melodies. Once you get the octaves on the left hand down and the octaves on the right hand down, here's some little extra things you can add to give it even more flavor and power. First thing I'm going to do is add harmonies on my right hand. So when I'm playing the melody, I'm also going to play this B note with it. And it just adds a little harmony to it. And then I'll just play the chords on my left hand. And then you can do the same thing with the higher part, except I'm going to play the G. And then on the next part, instead of just playing the octaves on your left hand, you can actually play the chords with the octaves on your right hand. So I'm going to take this octave and I'm also going to fill in the chord. Because I'm playing a E minor on my left hand. So that means I can play an E minor on my right hand as well. And then I go to that G, the A minor, and then land back on the E minor. And then once you get that down on your left hand, you can bounce back and forth between octaves. So I'm going to hit this low octave, and then immediately I'm going to move up an octave and play that chord shape right there. And I'm going to do the same thing with each chord in that chord progression. then on that last part, that melody, I just keep the octaves. But one thing I do with my left hand to give it a little more rhythm is I bounce in between the end of the melody like this. It's just very subtle. It just gives it something to transition back into the melody once again. And then you go back to the original melody. The last part I'm going to show you is actually a piano riff, I guess you would call it, for the TSO version of Carol of the Bells. You've probably heard it before. All you're going to do on the left hand is start off with the E, and you're going to walk down and end up on the F sharp. It's going to sound like this. And then you just repeat that pattern. The second time you do the walk down, you're going to add your right hand and play the same thing an octave higher. Together it would sound like. Hopefully the simple version will be easy to pick up, and then once you get that down, you can get creative with it and add even more to it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments for clarity. If you have any recommendations for other songs, let me know. Don't forget, the reason for the season is to celebrate Jesus, and I hope you have a great Christmas season and a blessed new year. A lot more tutorials coming, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.